Hello, Monarchs. Welcome to the second video for lesson 5.2 using quick graphs using intercepts. If you have not watched the first video, please go back and do that now. We answered these two questions and went over how to find our x-intercept in our example. Okay, so now we're going to go over how to find our y-intercept. And if you look at our notes, to find our y-intercept, we plug in a 0 for x. Okay, so we plug in a 0 for x. You can see that we already have our 0 for x, right? Our 0 is already there, so we know that's what we have to plug in for x. Okay. So our y-intercept, we're going to use this same equation up here, right? This is our parent equation. That's the same equation we're using, right? So we're going to do negative x, but I have a value for x, right? It tells me I'm supposed to plug in a 0 for x. So I really should have negative 0, right? Which doesn't make sense, but we're just putting it in because it's a negative x plus 5y equals 10. Okay. So obviously this cancels out. I have 5y equals 10. That 5 is multiplying my y, so I know I need to divide both sides by it because I need to do the opposite. Divide by 5, divide by 5, and I get y equals 2. Okay, so my y coordinate for my y-intercept is 2. All right, so my two intercepts now, my x-intercept is negative 10, 0, and my y-intercept is 0, comma 2. Okay, and I always like to label these x, y. All right, so we plugged in a 0 for y to find the x-intercept. We plugged in a 0 for x to find the y-intercept. Okay, so now we're going to do that in graph. All right, so it says how to graph a line the easy way, and it's easy as 1, 2, and 3, right? We have 3 different directions here. First, we find the intercepts, okay? Then we plot our points, which are the intercepts, and then we draw our line. Okay, so we find the intercepts, plot the points, and draw our line. That is the 3-step easy way to graphing using your intercepts. Okay, so it gives us this equation of the line. We have 3x minus 6y equals negative 12. That's our parent equation. That's the equation of the line that is given to us. Now we're going to set up our cross eyes as we do for every one of these problems you'll do. So our cross eyes, if you don't remember what they look like, are right here. Okay, so we have a comma and a 0, and then another 0 and a comma. Our two cross eyes are right there. That's why we call it cross eyes. Okay, remember, this is my x coordinate, this is my y coordinate, this is my x coordinate, and this is my y coordinate. Okay, so to find my x, I know I need to plug in a 0 for y, right? To find my y, which we don't know, I know I need to plug in a 0 for x. Okay, so let's start off by finding our x-intercept. So like I said, I know I'm going to plug in a 0 for y. Okay, so I have 3x minus 6, and I'm not going to put a y because it gives me a value for y already. I already know my y value is 0, so I'm not going to put y. I'm going to put 6 times 0 in parentheses, and I'll put it in red to show that I subbed it in there, equals negative 12. Okay, and remember, this equation is the same exact equation from right there. So negative 6 times 0 just cancels out. That's 0. So I get 3x equals 12. Again, that 3 is multiplying my x, so I know I need to do the opposite. The opposite of multiplication would be division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Okay, 3 divided by 3 is 1, so that cancels out. I get x equals, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. Okay, so I know my x-intercept is going to be 4, comma 0. Okay, now I just need to find out what my y is, my y-intercept. All right, so I know that now. I separated this into two different equations. Okay, I'm going to plug in, we'll do 3, and then instead of times x, I know what my x is. So I'm going to plug in a 0 for x. So 3 times 0 minus 6y equals negative 12. And again, I just got that from right there. Okay, so 3 times 0 is 0. That cancels out. I'm left with negative 6y equals negative 12. A negative 6 is multiplying my y, so I need to divide both sides by negative 6. And I get y equals positive 2. Okay, so I know that my x coordinate is 0, comma 2. Okay, we're not done yet, but we do have our coordinates. We have 2 different points, and if you remember from our lesson yesterday, all we need is 2 points to be able to graph a line, right? So we're just going to graph this line using these 2 points. My x-intercept is going to be 4, 0. So I'm going to graph that. It means I'll go 4, 0. I don't go anywhere on the y-axis. I stay on the x-axis, 4, 0. My y-intercept is 0, 2. So I don't go anywhere left or right. I just go up to 2. Now I have my 2 points, and now is when I would grab my straight edge. Just use my phone. Grab my straight edge, and I'm going to graph this line. Okay. So now I graph the line, and as our little note tells us, remember we always need to use a ruler and do not forget about the arrows. Okay, so we use this equation of the line that it gave us to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept, and we then use those to put them on the graph and find the line. Okay, and do not forget to use a ruler and use your arrows to show the line goes on forever in both directions. Okay, thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next homework help video for this lesson.